Hi. So in this video, we'll be covering the different terms that are used in the differential equations. So the first basic term that you should be knowing is independent variables. So I've just listed the three things: independent variables, dependent variables, and parameters. So this is a sample differential equation. It says u prime plus k times u minus t naught is 0. This is a very famous equation and it's known as Newton's law of cooling. You'll be doing it in mechanical engineering heat transfer course. But for now, it's completely alright if you don't understand this term. So over here, this can also be written as du over dt, as you have learned in your calculus course. So over here, u represents the temperature over here, and T naught is the temperature at time is equal to 0, and K is known as the convection coefficient, and T is just the time, and U represents the temperature. So over here, if you can see, U is always going to depend on the time T. So time is just going to keep increasing, and the value or the model of U is going to keep changing at different instants of time. So in other words, what you can say is U is definitely going to depend on T, like does not matter what time it is going to be. But it's still, it has some relationship to do with T. So hence we can write U as a function of time, like U of T. So we say that U is going to be a dependent variable in this equation. Talking about independent variables, like just before a minute, I've told you that T is not going to depend on any of these variables. The time is just going to keep increasing. As the time changes, what happens to the temperature of the solid that's going to undergo convection. That's basically what this equation says. So definitely time is not going to depend on anything, and hence we call it as an independent variable. So if you can see in the differential equation, there's going to be still two other terms. That's going to be K and T naught. As I told before, T naught is the temperature at time is equal to 0, and K is known as the convection coefficient. These actually they change with time, but this is the very simple equation where we take constant value of K and a constant value T naught. And definitely for different objects or in different situations, the value is going to differ. So we can't still name it constants. Also, when you know that integrating a constant times, let's say dt, is going to give you ct times, let's say, some other constant t. You have learned this in your calculus 1 integration course. So you see that this term is no more going to be a constant because t is going to be our independent variable. Hence we need some other name to name this k and t naught, and we're going to name it parameters. So I would encourage you to look at more differential equations and classify them as independent variables, dependent variables, and parameters. So once you know this, the next thing what you should be knowing is what is the order of an equation. Of course, you have learned before that for calculating d squared u over dt squared, and you have also done du over dt, and you obviously know u of t. And now what all I'm saying is, let's just do some operations with this to form some other equation. Let's say it's equal to q of t. Of course, q of t can also be a constant or a 0 or something. So over here, the differential equation, if you see, it might look more complicated, but we're going to solve this a little later. And over here, we say that the order of the equation is going to be 2, because it involves the second differentiation of u with respect to time. In this equation, the maximum order you have over there is just du over dt. You've differentiated only once, so hence we say that this is a first order equation. Of course, when you're going to include d cube u over dt cube, or d to the power 4 u over dt to the power 4, your order of the equation changes to 3 and 4 respectively. So how do we define order? Is basically, order is the highest differentiation that is involved in a differential equation. This is how we are going to define order. In the next video, I'm going to tell you what initial conditions are and how you're going to write a differential equation. Thanks for watching.